My name is Lena Carter, and for most of my life, I believed my mother was a kind, caring woman. But everything changed the year my grandmother, Margaret Carter, got sick. Grandma Margaret was the kindest person I knew. She raised my mother as a single parent, worked 2 jobs, and still managed to cook homemade dinners every night. She never complained, never asked for anything in return. But when she turned 78, her health started failing. She developed heart problems and could barely walk without help. Doctors suggested assisted living, but Grandma refused. "I just want to stay in my own home," she whispered, holding my hand. "This house is full of memories." My mother, Angela, didn't feel the same way. "She's just being dramatic," Mom said one evening while scrolling on her phone. "I have my own life, Lena. I can't babysit an old woman." Those words shocked me. But I was only 19 in college, living 2 states away. I couldn't be there every day. I begged Mom to check on Grandma, bring groceries, help her with medication. She always replied, "I will tomorrow." Tomorrow never came. One night Grandma called me, her voice was weak and shaking. "Lena, sweetheart, I fell, I can't get up." My heart stopped. "Where's Mom?" I asked. "She said she's busy. She told me to call a neighbor, but I don't want to bother anyone." I immediately called Mom. She sounded annoyed. "It's late. She always exaggerates," she said. "She's old, Lena. These things happen." I screamed at her to go check on Grandma. She promised she would. The next morning, I received a call from the hospital. Grandma had been found unconscious on the kitchen floor by a neighbor who heard her faint cries through the window. She had been lying there for almost 12 hours. She died 2 days later. I flew home for the funeral. My mother cried in front of everyone, acting like a grieving daughter, but I knew the truth. She left her to die alone. After the funeral, we gathered at the lawyer's office. Grandma had left a will. My mother sat confidently, expecting to inherit everything. But the lawyer cleared his throat and said, "Margaret Carter left most of her assets to her granddaughter, Lena Carter." My mother froze. The house, the savings, even Grandma's jewelry. The lawyer continued. "She wrote a letter explaining her decision." He handed me a sealed envelope. My hands shook as I opened it. "Angela, I loved you my whole life. But when I needed you most, you turned away." Lena stayed with me on the phone every night, even when she was far away. "I leave everything to the person who loved me when it mattered." My mother stormed out of the office that day. Furious, but that was only the beginning. 6 months later, my mother lost her job. The company downsized and she had no savings. She called me crying. "Lena, I need help. I can't pay rent. Can I stay in Grandma's house?" The same house she refused to step into when Grandma was alive. I paused for a long moment. "You said you had your own life, Mom," I replied calmly. "I guess now you'll have to live it." She moved into a tiny apartment and struggled to survive. But karma wasn't done yet. Years later, my mother developed a serious illness. She needed surgery and long-term care. She called me again, her voice weak, just like Grandma's had been. "I'm scared, Lena. I don't want to be alone." I remembered Grandma's voice that night. I visited her in the hospital. She looked small, fragile, and full of regret. "I was a terrible daughter," she whispered. "I thought I had time. I thought she would always be there." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "I understand now how lonely she must have felt." I held her hand. "I will not abandon you," I said softly. "But I hope you remember this feeling forever." She nodded. Years passed. I rebuilt Grandma's house, turned it into a peaceful place full of warmth again. But my relationship with my mother never healed. One evening, I found another letter in Grandma's old wooden box. It was dated just a few days before her death. My hands trembled as I read it. "If you are reading this, Lena, it means I'm gone. I want you to know something important." Angela didn't just forget me. She asked the doctor to stop calling her. She told them not to involve her unless it was an emergency. I realized then that my daughter had already buried me while I was still alive. My heart shattered. She didn't just abandon Grandma, she chose to erase her. That night, I decided she deserved to know the truth. I visited my mother at her small apartment. She looked older, weaker, and full of regret. I placed Grandma's letter on the table. "You never read this," I said coldly. "She wrote it for you." She opened it and started reading. Her hands began shaking. Her face turned pale. "I didn't know she knew," she whispered. "She knew everything," I replied. "She knew you stopped caring. She knew you stopped answering calls. She died believing her own daughter erased her from life." My mother collapsed on the couch, crying uncontrollably. "I thought she would never leave me," she sobbed. "I thought I had time." I leaned forward and said the words she once said to Grandma, "You were just being dramatic. I have my own life." Her eyes widened in shock. "You said that to her. Now I'm saying it to you."